gradient and colour in a portrait. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to import your pictures into Lightroom. I like to go to the selector source. Usually find it's the quickest and easiest place to find my images. I know that these are actually just been downloaded. You might find them on your desktop. And here's my pictures that I want to download. So I'm just going to, this one actually, that's something else. So we're going to import those pictures. We're going to work on the develop section. If I had lots of images, the first thing I would do is select through them and star rate them to decide on which pictures I want. But for this project, I'm just going to choose these 2 images to work on. So the first thing that I always do is to go into the crop tool, press the O button on your keyboard, which will take it through the different sections. And today I need to use the rule of thirds. This is because I need to make sure that the points of the rule of thirds, this will draw the attention, draw the audience to look directly at the model. I also want to try and get rid of any unwanted space, and also good practice is that I usually set it to 5:7. So I'm going to use 8:10 because this would be traditional for Juliet Margaret Cameron. And then I'm going to move it around so that it's just placed there. I'm going to give it a slight twist as well, just there we go, and I'm happy with that. The original picture, you can press Y and Y, and then you can see what you have done before and after. First thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to play with the sort of the light areas. One of the first things that I always like to do is I'll press auto and see what the machine does for me. This is an intelligent program, so therefore it usually works it out quite well, although I might sort of decrease some of the areas. I might increase the exposure. I'm going to increase the contrast a little bit more. I'm going to see there. I'm going to leave those highlights about there. Increase the shadows a little bit more. And then I don't really need to, I'm not going to adjust the whites and the blacks on here. I feel quite happy with that. Distracted by the bright areas here in the background. A little bit too much brightness here on the side of her shoulder as well. So I'm going to use a linear gradient tool to kind of change and focus mainly on the face. Find that in this graduated filter tool here. And you should be able to drag the areas over that you want to darken. So here I'm just going to change those exposures a little bit. So I'm going to decrease that area there because that's something I really don't want to pay attention to. A little bit around with the contrast, and I'm going to bring those highlights right down as well. There we go. Right, so I'm also going to add one to this side as well. So I need to add a new, so I'm going to click up there and add a new point. So here again, I might just extend that out a little bit more. And I'm going to do the same sort of things again, and expose it, and I'm going to take the highlights down. It's gone quite orangey in the background as well, so I'm going to just take the saturation a little bit down while I can there as well. Okay, just take that down. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that now, although maybe I might just add another one here. Okay, and again I'm going to just take that exposure right down. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that because it's mainly on the face. And now I'm going to play with the colour. So I'm going to leave this one as a colour picture. Typically I would probably change it to black and white, and you can see that it's changing it to black and white, but I'm going to leave it in colour for today. I'm going to change the colour temperature first of all. I'm going to make it a bit cooler, which will make it look less orangey in the background. About there. I'm also going to play around a little bit with the vibrance as well to make it a bit more vivid. So think about there. And then I just want to play around a little bit more with colour mix. And I'm going to just decrease some of those reds. So you can see, actually decrease them I should say. See the change in the colours. I'm going to go into the orange, because there's quite a lot of orange in this picture. There's quite a lot of yellow. You can see changing in the background. And there's magenta as well, so you can see this in the skin tone usually. I'm just going to play around with these a little bit more. Just take those reds out a little bit. Got the effects, and I'm going to do a vignette. Down a little bit, not too much, about 20, 30 maybe. I also want to change the midpoint because I want to narrow it as well, so you can see it change in shape there as well. And I'm going to go back up to detail, and I'm going to increase the sharpening to about 90, I think. I feel like 90 is a good one, but then just make sure it's on 1. I'm going to change the detail to 0, and I'm just going to change masking to 30. This helps with the skin basically, but we are going to edit this in Photoshop to do the skin retouching afterwards. I'm going to take this into Photoshop and edit it in there. You should be able to edit in Photoshop. If not, you can always export the image and then obviously open it again in Photoshop.